Hello, y'all. I have a special message for someone that needs to hear this. I'm not pulling any cards. This is simply just a talking head video. Not talking head is a term I've discussed, but literally just me talking to y'all. Um, there was an immature soul here that needs to hear this message. Spirit told me just record. Don't worry about anything else. I don't have to set up anything right now. In my bonnet, of course, you've seen it a few times. Um, someone your soul is at risk of becoming a psychopath. And basically how this was explained to me, the download I got is you are someone who has a very big personality and you have not yet mastered how to, I'll say it, just be. You don't know how to just be. You are worried about people's perception of you in different groups. Like with group A, you may only talk about sports, and then with group B you hang out with, you guys may be into horticulture or stitching or fashion, and the two don't really mix, and you haven't yet learned how to blend your soul to encompass the variety that life brings, how to be multifaceted without being a monolith. Basically, you are changing the shape of your soul to fit into all these different groups instead of just allowing it to mold around you. Um, and this can cause psychopathy when you have splits like that or split personalities. It's also a symptom of what is it, BPD? You know, a type of bipolar, or there's like several different types of bipolar. I'm not going to get to it right now, but also send this video to someone if you feel that they could benefit from hearing this message. Let me take a few breaths, y'all. I also encourage you to take a few breaths with me. Just slow down your heart rate or speed it up, whichever one works best for you. Y'all have there's a lot of different energies in here, but for the person this video is for, you need to find ways to mend your soul. It is not, let me just say it this way. It is not your job to manage people's perception of you. It is not your job to manage people's perception of you. How people think about you, how they feel about you. Yes, we can influence that to a very high degree. But again, when it comes to controlling people's perception, they will always see you differently than what you are. And even how you see yourself is not how God sees you or designed you. So it's really comes from, I think it is a mother wound. And this is a wound that is a type of rejection. It's a type of feminine wound where you feel you have to, a lot of women, they feel they have to present a certain way around men to be respected, to be seen, to be heard, other than just being a pretty face or just be seen as a piece of ass, which we know is true in male-dominated spaces where there's not that many women. The women who tend to get promotions or stuff, they tend to be prettier, or guys think, oh, you must have sucked off the boss to get there, which is not true. In some cases it is. If it applies, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You're someone who is very intelligent, and because of it, you have people who, they feel lesser than you. Basically, they are in competition with you. It could be something as simple as you talking about like the hem and the fucking hems on jeans and how they're sewn, and someone who's into fashions, maybe someone who makes clothes, are like, oh, I didn't know that about denim. I didn't know that about, I didn't know the sewing technique, and I've been sewing for 13 years. Well, maybe you sew or you don't at all, just an example, but you have a very in-depth knowledge of how things work. I'm not saying you have completed your 720 degrees of wisdom, sound right, wisdom, knowledge, reason, but you are someone who is well researched, you study, and because of that, you have also studied psychology to some level, and you have formed a sort of opinion or basis of how interactions go. But the knowledge that you have read about this, how to interact with humans, how to be human, and this and that, this is a star seed, definitely. You would have to check the authors, like, is this author bias? Is this author also, is this dark psychology that you're using? Is this manipulation? Is this is this human manipulation tactics that you're using? Are you reading from like the 48 laws of power, which were taken from the 42 negative coefficients of Ma'at? Are you going off the 10 commandments, which, again, taken from the 42 laws of Ma'at? Are you studying, like, are you looking at socializing as a chess game? Because if you're playing that game, well, you're only going to be meeting people and influencing people who are also playing that game. So I don't want you to come away thinking that everyone is evil, or that everyone is stupid, or that everyone is ignorant, or that only special people can understand you. While yes, that may be true on certain levels, the way you have framed your consciousness and the way you understand how socializing works needs a little bit of work itself. It may be a bit skewed. The base of knowledge that you're pulling from when you go into these interactions is kind of doing more harm than good. You are at this time being called to, I'm not pulling cards, but the card that comes to mind, I see my mind's eye, is the Fool. And not to say you were dumb, but just to start over from a beginner's perspective, learn new ways, observe animals and nature playing together, or you yourself, if you have animals or you know where you can, like, interact with them, like, like a shelter, anywhere, go literally, the spirit telling me to tell you this, go and interact with some wild animals, go interact with some cats, with some dogs, go talk to the birds, find a rabbit in nature. If you can befriend crows, do that. You have had to learn manipulation and deceit and stuff like this to get your way, because you may have come from a very toxic environment, or just you've been around people who taught you these things, and their worldview was fucked up because they're fucked up. They were hurt. And they, even if you've gotten away from these people and parties and you're doing your own thing now, some of you are still dealing with these group of people. And for those of you who have gotten away from these toxic individuals, they have kind of like left like a smudge in your energy, where it's like when you think of how to do things, you kind of reference them, or it's like you're using them as a reference point of how you should move and act, when in reality these people were really only there for a lesson. It might have been a part of your karmic contract, things that you had to work off or balance in this lifetime, hard lessons that you had to learn. And these people are not the monolith. These people are not the shining example of how you should be. These people really were just a lesson. And really the lesson was really, well, I can't speak on it. They said be quiet. But I can't tell you what the lesson means to you or for you or what you got out of it. But I can tell you that you are entering a space, like, we are in the sun cycle. So if you are still using underhanded tactics, deceit, deception, you're lying, you're manipulating, you are going to find more and more that these ways just fall by the wayside. These ways are no longer compatible with the cycle we're in. When we were in, I guess you would call it the moon cycle, or Enlil, in that cycle, yes, the system itself is built on these things: deception, people who use other people to get ahead. That's what we've been taught. But you yourself don't have to follow this. See, like, you are going by the world system and you're looking at men, mortals, even if they're not human, you're looking at mortals who in reality have no power. The power these people get that you've been influenced by, they got their power from the devil. They got their power from Satan, from the Luciferians. That's why they appear so powerful on the physical, but that is a borrowed power, and it's on a timer, and their time is running up. You, on the other hand, you are, this may not be your first time incarnating in this reality, in this existence, but I'm getting a read that you are a very, like, fresh soul. Like, you're not necessarily young, but you're not like as old as, you're not a primordial. You're not as old as some stars even. And that's fine. You're still learning, but you need to really tap into the wisdom that is inside of you, instead of going to all these other parties and you're just trying to keep yourself safe. You're not a bad person. You just want to stay safe, and you want to make sure that you're getting the best experience you can. But it's just, you've learned all these underhanded tactics and dark left-handed ways that, again, are incompatible with the cycle we're in. And now you're being called to look at it differently. Start with the beginner's mindset. Again, I'm going to call you to take a few deep breaths. Woosah. This video was a bit unstructured. I'm just talking. I mean, usually when I read tarot, I'm just talking anyway, but just kind of being channeling, downloading. But I will reiterate it once more for you all. It is not your job to manage. It is not your job to manage people's perception of you. It's not your responsibility. Whatever people are thinking in their head, when you get to the point where you are wearing a different mask for every single person you encounter, that's when you start to slip into psychopathy, sociopath territory, because when you're that acutely aware of like people's like how they feel and acting towards you, it doesn't matter. Like people are gonna say what they're gonna say, people are gonna think what they're gonna think. You could be the best person in the world, have done absolutely no harm. Like say you are Jesus Christ, and we see how they treated him, JC. You see how people treated him, right? That starseed, that individual, that prophet, that God, that seer. He was a seer. We see how people treated the Lord JC when he was here. And he was the Son of God. He is the Son of God. So it does not matter if you are perfect. It does not matter if you have $1 billion in your bank account. People are still going to have opinions. People are still going to treat you how they feel is just because of their biases, because of their trauma, their wound, their hurt. The best you can do is just to be yourself, and with that, to just be. When you are in a state of being, or when you are in a state where you can just be, you fall away from having to pull strings and manipulate and control things. Things just happen naturally, and you will have a lot more fun. You will have a lot better experiences with people because it's natural. It just rolls off the tongue. You might start doing and saying things that you might not have had the confidence before, when you were holding up this like mask of I'm suave, I'm cool, I don't give a fuck. Like, but you do give a fuck. And the reason that this is coming out is because you're heading down a very dangerous path where you might lose a piece of yourself that you really need right now. It could be your inner child, something that you are trying to snuff out or hide, or kill the flame on, which is a piece of you that you've been taught is bad. But really, this is your power. This is really something that is personal to you. I'm not sure exactly what I'm not being allowed to see, but this is something very personal. It's your power. This is like a piece, an aspect of you, of your conscious, of your psyche. It could be an emotion you feel that's unique to you. It could be like something in your heart chakra, in your heart space, in your third. This is like a vision that you have. Even this is like something that you have always known, but just because of the bad actors that have come into your life at different times, they have reinforced that no, this is bad, or oh, that's a taboo, or oh, you can't say that, you can't dress this way, you can't do that. Now there's a difference, y'all, between self-expression and being yourself, being quirky, being cool, being weird, but actually cool, than just doing things that are just inappropriate. There's a huge difference in that. And even then, what some people call inappropriate may not be inappropriate at all. It really is semantics, and I'm gonna leave you to determine that. But I just want to make it known, you are not a bad person. You're not evil. You may feel these things, and that is because you have a lot of energy in you, literally like it's been injected into you and hammered in over and over. Like that movie about that dog in the military, where they were like, don't play, sit, don't play, don't bark. And dogs like to bark. I have a dog now. He's like, well, he's about 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old. He still acts like a puppy. He's a Chihuahua Beagle. As you know, Chihuahuas are very aggressive, and Beagles are very vocal. And when you put that in one body, you have a Chihuahua Beagle, a Chigle. Well, it's an aggressive and loud dog. And he's small, he's cute, but he's very, and I had to check myself. I had to say, okay, like, he likes to bark a lot. He sometimes barks for hours. When it gets to that point, I'll cut him off, I'll stop him. But he likes to bark. And I had to realize, okay, he's just expressing himself. There's nothing wrong with him barking. I've had cats my whole life. So take it for example, like this is a great example. I've had over 8 cats. Throughout my life, I have had different cats in different houses, different places I live. I've always had cats. I have never had a dog of my own. I like dogs, but I've never had the experience to live with one and own one and, take care of one myself. So my dog Chip, he likes to bark a lot, like I said, and he gets very vocal. A car could go down the street, he's still barking 5 minutes later at the same car that is out of sight, paying him no mind. When strangers walk down the street, he's barking. This is something that is irritating to me. But like, again, I had to check myself. I said, okay, you know what? He's asserting his dominance, but he's also just communicating. He's barking. He's telling a story. He's saying something. I may not understand it. I may not like it, but him barking honestly does no harm to me. I can just put my earbuds in, or I can close my door. I don't have to yell at him. I don't have to tell him to shut up. I don't have to be mean to him because he's communicating, right? This, again, is something that you are learning and that you have to like gauge and see with yourself. Um, like the things that you have learned that are like taboo or people think are weird. Well, so what? Like, they can walk away or they can close their ears. They can shield their eyes. They can not look at you. They can just not be your friend. They can, if someone is that bothered by you and they're telling you to change things that are fundamentally an aspect of yourself, they may be unrefined. They may be less, they may not be fully evolved all the way. You may not be at the pinnacle, the fucking peak of your evolution, or, we continually evolve because there will always be one more, there will always be another thing. If you complete your entire quest on Earth, you do A through Z, well, guess what? There's still going to be one more thing after you get out of here, right? And that's the goal, to go back home. There always be one more thing, and you do not have to stay around these people. If you're around people, some interesting. If you're around people that it seems like they're committed to misunderstanding you, or they're telling you, hey, I don't get that, or hey, like, you're weird, or they just keep hammering it in like, I don't really like that, and it's just something that you do naturally. Well, guess what? It's time to make new friends. It's time to walk away from these group of karmics. Usually, when you're with people like that, now I get it. We all have quirks. We all have things that are kind of things that we can work on. We're not perfect, and at the end of the day, you may be a starseed, but you are still human. And humans can being a human is a very messy experience. It's not always this clean cookie cutter. Usually there's a lot of lessons that come with it. That's why we're here at the starting point of being human. There's a lot of lessons that come with it. There's a lot of ignorance at some points too, not just being dumb, but simply because we just don't know. There's just things that we don't know, we have not experienced. You are not a bad person for not knowing. You're not a bad person for being less evolved, but it is your job to daily to get 1%, at least 1% better, to continuously go forward, even when people decline you, even when people reject you, even when doors close in your face, even when it seems like things that you want are out of grasp. You need to continually go forward, continuously move forward each and every day. It may be painful, it may hurt, but I guarantee you that over time, when you are up the hill, on top of the mountain, you will thank yourself for not stopping at the base of the hill and going back home, walking away from your objective when you could have already been halfway there, if not already finished. And I know this message is getting long. I ashuk you guys, which means love in Egyptian, or why can I think of the word? Oh, I'm sorry, Malachi. But free Malachi, by the way. He'll be home soon, if not already home. But you guys, like, send this to someone that you think needs to hear this. A lot of people, their issues are really just like the self. It comes a lot of times, people can deal with being bullied. People can deal with hardship. People can deal with backbreaking labor. People can deal with having missing limbs, broken arm. People can deal with that, but it's like when it comes to the mind and the heart, those things can be very fragile and sensitive. And a lot of times you really just need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. It's that sometimes you just need to look yourself in the mirror and speak positive affirmations. If you have gotten this far, I want you to do yourself a favor and also comment if you are called to it, but make yourself a list. You're going to do this for 21 days. 21 days straight. I want you to make a list, add to it every day. You're going to wake up every morning, or, whenever you are in front of a mirror, I want you to stop and speak the affirmations from your list. Like, I love myself. I'm good at XYZ. I think my personality is dope. I smell good. I feel good. I'm powerful. I'm empowered. I feel strong. People like me. I like myself. I love myself. God loves me. Just anything you can think of that you do like about yourself. Because a lot of times, you guys, you have this negative self-talk going on in your head. A lot of times those are demons. A lot of times those are entities, demons, low vibrational spirits that are they're talking at you, and they make it seem like you're talking to yourself. And every time you respond to it, like, maybe I'm not that guy. Maybe I'm not that girl. Maybe I'm not as hard as I thought. When you start doing that, like the self-loathing, that's when those spirits are able to attach to you and like that earworm gets in your head, and you're like, you start feeling kind of shitty. You start kind of hating life. You start looking at people like, everyone's against me, or no one likes me, and that's not true. That's not true. You are a joy to this world. You are a gift to this world. You are literally a blessing. You are a walking blessing. You might feel like no one likes me, or people don't understand me. Well, everyone's life you come into, you have significantly increased positively. Even if you feel like, oh, well, I do no good, I do damage. Well, no, that's not true. Everyone who has met you, they have been touched in some kind of way that left them thinking, feeling spiritually, like, they feel better than, and you have to be careful with that too, because you have this light. You have to protect your light, because you have light in a world that is darkness. And I don't just mean feminine, because we are in a world that is spiritually dark, spiritually ignorant, spiritually dead, corrupt even. You have to protect your light and know when and where and how or how much to give to people, and when to keep to yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I'm sorry I'm lecturing. I'm sorry I'm going off. But someone really needs to hear this. And I'm just gonna, I know I said I'll only say it one more time, but Spirit is like, just say it again, just because it is not your job to manage people's expectations or perception of you. You in your head view yourself a certain way, and you might feel like this badass, or you might feel like, I don't know. You might see yourself as a dweeb, as a dork, and that is also fine. But you're going to look yourself in the mirror for 21 days straight, and you're going to speak positive affirmations. Now, if you don't want to write down a list, that's fine, but it will help you to write down a list. If you only feel like writing down one thing today, if you can only think of one positive thing to say about yourself, fine, write that. And then tomorrow, write down one more thing, until you have at least 21 things on that list that you are going to look yourself in the mirror every day in the eyes and say, I love you. You're going to say that to yourself. I love you. I respect you. I'm valued. I bring value. I'm artistic. I'm creative. I'm dope. I'm a genius. I'm a liberator. I'm loved. I'm powerful. My mind is sharp. My body looks good. I look nice. I feel nice. Just talk yourself up. It's very basic, but when you're just hearing bullshit every day, when you're around people that are negative Nancy's, when you're just around people who are tearing you and your aura down, you need to be combating that with hearing something positive. You can also listen to Malachi Z. York's Egyptian Tones chants on YouTube. It's literally called Egyptian Tones or Egyptian Chants by Malachi Z. York. Type that in. Egyptian Chants, Egyptian Tones by Malachi Z. York. Put that on YouTube. It is the most peaceful music you'll find. You also need to work on your psychic defense. Psychic defense, a lot of starseeds, you have been tapping into your ESP, telepathy, all these gifts, and sometimes there's some of you who still, you aren't able to tell the difference between your thoughts and others. So sometimes you need to do some shielding, and this looks different for different people, how you conceptualize your mind and how you use your gifts, or the source from what you're tapping into. I would also say sometimes you need to tap into a different source of your power, or of your God's power, or of your deity's power, of your ancestors' power, right? Sometimes you need to unplug from that source, plug in somewhere else, like a fucking cable jack. Unplug there, unplug from the red, plug it into the blue or green, right? Literally. Then they said don't say anything more, but if you know, you know. That's the perfect example. You also need to cleanse your psychic channels, cleanse your gifts. A lot of people don't think about this, but you use them every day. A lot of times you're using them to combat people, or you might be in warfare, you might be in spiritual warfare. You need to cleanse your gifts, the gifts you use. When you use them, it's like it activates the memory. When the memory's activated, your your nervous system lights up. It's like you get a flare up of a like you are getting like a negative flare up and negative feedback loops, which that's what keeps some of you sick. You have not cleansed your gifts. And you might say, how do I cleanse my gifts? Well, if you want to do it on the physical, I would use Florida water. You have mugwort, you have black salt, you have Psalms. Psalms 71, Psalms 72, Psalms 73, Psalms 81, Psalms 4, Psalms 3 and 4. Songs 1 through 10. Um, you have Everclear, you know, the alcohol. You go and get that. You can rub it on your body. You know, there's many different ways you can cleanse yourself, but when it comes to necessarily cleansing things that aren't really physical like that, you want to do it mentally or on the spirit. You know, take those elements, take your elements, fire, water, wind, earth, alchemize it, alchemize. Do your alchemy, transmute your gifts through the filter of pure love. And again, I'm going to say it's not your job to manage people's expectation of you. It's your job to manage yourself. When you let go of that weight of, oh well, I have to be this person over there, and now I'm with this person, now I gotta wear this mask. That's a lot of work. You're making a lot of hard work for yourself for shit that's unnecessary and shit that doesn't matter. And even when you take your mask off, say you upset someone or you let someone down, well, oh the fuck well. Who cares? In the grand scheme of things, do you want to live your whole life and then pass away knowing, damn, I mean, I sure did manage people's expectations, you know, like, have you even said the thing that's on your mind? Have you even expressed how you feel? Have you even told the person closest to you, hey man, like, I don't like when you do this, or, you know, like, I feel a different way than what you're saying, you know, and it's okay. It's okay to have a different opinion. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be a freak. It's okay to not know how you feel. It's okay to be human. It's okay to cry. It is, even as a man. Yes, I'm. It's sad that I have to say this. As a man, it's okay to cry. A lot of people won't get that, especially toxic. It's not this woman. Let's not do that. But you know, a lot of people, they don't get it. But you know, it is okay to feel the full spectrum of emotions you're feeling, and you should really work on expressing yourself more, because you are heading down the path for the person this video was for, right? You are heading down a path where it seems like you will be losing touch with yourself, and that is the hardest thing to get back. Take it from someone who has lost themselves entirely and gone down a complete wrong path in the past. Once you lose parts of yourself, you start to lose more and more, and you realize you're not who you thought you were. You realize you're not the person that you are trying to be. You realize that you're so far from your goal that you don't know where to start to heal or to go forward. And that's a scary place to be. So please, if this resonates, please take these words and heed. Please listen to this message. Listen to it a few times if you need. Do the mirror challenge, 21 days, positive affirmations. Send this to someone that needs this message. Y'all, check on your friends, male, woman, you know, man or woman, non-binary, whoever. Check on them. Check on your friends. And again, express yourself. It is okay to express yourself. And if you feel like you can't, well, you're around the wrong people. So with that, I love you all. Ashuk. And yes, it's Nuwabic. I couldn't think of the language earlier when I said Ashuk, which means love in Nuwabic. Thank y'all. I love you guys. Bye. Siren out.